Please. Okay. Right. I need to now work out how I stop this dreadful sound.
It's not dreadful.
It's quite dreadful.
It's lovely.
Right. Night. What's it called? Oh my goodness. That went on for 10 hours. Could you imagine 10 hours of that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So let's first of all, I think everybody should be there. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is our 11th session. Hopefully you're all in the right place. This is the intermediate for the pattern pen. As always, everybody is muted. Your videos are off. This is for safeguarding. If you have any questions or anything, use the chat window within Zoom where oops, I've lost the thing. Where you'll be able to ask any questions. My name is Dave. I am a tech lead here at Redgate and a geek, thank you. And I am joined with...
Me!
And you are?
Betty.
Betty, or Bethany?
Betty.
Is it Betty now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
it has been for ages.
Has it?
Yes.
Okay, it's Betty for the first 9 years or so. Right.
You just don't pay any attention.
Who are we with? I think we're with Owen.
Yeah, I'm Owen. I'm a software engineer at Redgate. I work with Dave. And I'm here to help with any questions that you might have in the chat.
Awesome. Okay, and we've also got Tim on the call as well, although I'm not sure whether his microphone is working. Hey, there he is.
I am just about here. I am badly multitasking with another call for work at the same time. So I'm kind of sort of here this week. I'll help where I can.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody has got the links already. If not, Owen, are you able to share the links in the chat?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to get spilling on that.
It won't.
Okay, fine. Okay, so the first one he's given, this is the guide we're going to follow along with. And the second link, and I will share my screen. Let me just find out where Zoom has gone. No, it's screen number 2. Hurrah! So hopefully you can see my screen.
Which one are you sharing?
This bottom one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we can see people on the touchscreen. On the right-hand side, we've got all of our notes and things we want to do. And that is the chat window.
I'm not blind.
That's right. So give everybody just a couple of seconds. I'm used to working with the beginner session mostly. If I'm going too fast or more likely or possibly too slow, please say something in the chat window. The idea is we make this a good experience for everybody. But I don't know if I'm going too fast or too slow unless you guys tell me. Okay, so I'm going to assume everybody is in this place. They have a similar screen as to mine. So the first thing we're going to do, in order to make our pen tool do some super swirly patterns, we're actually going to use our sprite to rotate the sprite, and eventually the rotation of the sprite will turn into what the pen is doing.
Dun, dun, dun.
The reason why we need the sprite is if we didn't have the sprite, we wouldn't have an object to control.
And
then you'd say, move nothing from here to here. Well, of course, nothing's going to happen because there is nothing to move.
Then it really would be dun dun dun.
It could be that, yes. So we are going to move the cat when our green flag is clicked. So can you remember the green flag? Remember
That's
what?
an event.
It is an event.
Top one.
Yeah, thank you. So I've gone to the events. Do you know why it's an event?
Because it's something that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Such as clicking the mouse,
Yeah.
typing a character on your keyboard, helping out with the chores around the house.
Never.
Never. Vacuuming.
No.
No. Okay. So when clicked, we want our cat to go to a location on the screen because we want to start in the middle of the screen. And the axis is essentially right in the middle is 0, 0. So 0 on the y-axis, 0 on the x-axis is bang in the middle. So if we want to move, which one of these do you think move would be?
Your thing is so small, I can't see anything.
You can't see.
No, can you
Okay.
make it bigger?
I can't actually make this much bigger. I'll make this one bigger.
Okay.
Oops, that's an earlier one.
Would it be motion?
Yes. So we'll click on motion and we need to go to X and Y coordinates. So within motion, 1, 2, 3, 4, the
5.
5th one down or the 5 one down.
Yeah.
5 1 down, sounds like a football score. Okay, go to,
But they have nil or something like that.
only for 0.
Oh.
So we want our cat to go to position 0, 0. We're then going to move the cat some steps. And steps is what this program uses to say an amount of space, a distance. So the very top one, move steps.
Move 50 steps.
50?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to click in the box, change it from 10 to 50.
Type that really fast.
You can type 50. Go on then, see if you can do it just as fast. See, easy.
I know
Okay.
you did like.
Okay. And then we're also going to rotate our cat. This isn't something you should do with real cats. It's just for the sake of this game, right?
What, swing cats around in the air?
Just uncool. Okay, however annoying that. Was it called Niang's song?
Nyan cat.
Niang, sorry. Okay,
Like Nyan, like bright.
that'd be neon.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to turn 15 degrees and we're going to go clockwise. When you're done with coding, put a bit in, test it, put a bit in, test it, put a bit in, test it. So it seems like a good time to test this. So if we click on the green flag, let's see what happens with our cat. Oh, you're doing it, are you? Fine.
Oh, it's so jerky and horrible.
There we are.
50 steps.
Oof.
Outs.
What if you click again?
You do it.
I do it. Okay, and I'll click again and again. Okay, so every time we click, he's moving around a bit. Yeah. Okay, I think we've got quite a bit to do. However, that's perfect to get things going. We've now seen what the code blocks do when the green flag is clicked. This means we can actually add the pen in immediately, and the pen is going to follow and do the same as what our cat is doing. So hopefully you don't have an option to add a pen yet. Now, Scratch comes with these things they call extensions. Extensions, also known as plugins. We use plugins and extensions all the time in the development world within our IDEs, within our software in which we use to write code. So in the bottom left of your screen, you should see a blue box. I don't know how you would describe those wavy lines.
Jigsaw lines. Look, it's the
Jigsaw
same
lines.
as these. Look, these two go together. It's a shrinky version of that. Or actually this one because it's smaller and then bigger.
Fine, okay, if you know, fine. Awesome. So we're going to click on that, and if you hover the mouse, it should also say add extensions.
Like hair extensions.
Could be. I've clicked on that link. We've got this new screen, and these are some of the things we could add. We're not, whilst the Lego one clearly looks like that could be a lot of fun, we're not going to do that. We are going to go with, guess which one?
Pen.
Yeah, because we're doing stuff with pens. So hover over, single click, and as you possibly saw, my window on the left changed and pen has been automatically selected.
Yeah, I like pens.
So I'm going to give people a second to catch up. Or if you are all there, let me know. No, I'll
Write
make
something in the chat.
Well, I think they can hear me. If they couldn't hear me, then...
I know, but you just said, tell me.
Oh, sorry, right. Sorry, you can't tell me. Sorry. Okay. Right, hopefully people have managed to add the pen. What we have to do with the pen, first of all, it's probably worthwhile having a look at what some of the options are, just to get a bit familiar with it, as opposed to just blindly following the tutorial. We have got this first one, erase all. So one assumes that means get rid of all the pen markings that have been created. Stamp, I assume means create a stamp.
Yay.
Pen down. So that's quite interesting.
Is it?
Well, I actually don't think that's what it means. So you could say put your pen down, you know, your time is up, but actually pen down could also be put the pen down onto the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think pen down means put your pen down onto the surface, and when you don't want to write, guess what?
That's actually quite funny because Surface is a computer as well.
There is a Microsoft Surface, yes. Okay, so that's really quite geeky to know that.
I know.
So, pen down means touch. How do you think you're going to make it stop writing?
Pen up.
Absolutely spot on. And that's what it is, pen up.
Oh,
Okay.
on me.
We can also set the pen colour.
Yeah.
We could change the pen colour by 10.
Oh, it might be one of those like that you get a square of them, and then you like move your mouse and then it onto like a different colour.
And it changes the number. Yeah, that's normally hexadecimal, so I don't know why you can change colour by that type of number.
No, there's another one, but
Is
it
there?
isn't hexadecimals or whatever, but it's different.
Well, there's RGB as well, which means you would put from 0 to 255 for red, green and blue, which is also TV is probably coloured. Anyway, change the pen size and set the pen size. Awesome. So the first thing we want to do is actually see if our cat, well, so if a drawing can occur as our cat moves.
So it look like it's drawing it with its feet or something.
It won't, it will just appear at the same time as the cat moves. We should see a drawing. So,
then it'll be like a trail.
kind of, yeah, very much so. Very much. So from the pen section, we are going to pen down. In fact, there it is. Pen down, and I'm going to drag this after
down.
When clicked. Okay, so when the screen flag is clicked, pen down, which should also mean it starts drawing. So as we do this,
that's amazing.
we can see,
Oh, I want this.
but as we go round,
It starts to disappear because it's already in there.
yeah, it's just redrawing over the same line. Okay, this is cool, but I don't think we're here to make a... How would you describe that? If it was yellow, it would be a sun. Or like a spokes in a wheel. No?
What's the spokes and wheel?
You know your bicycle,
Yes.
the front tyre,
Yes.
wheel, all those little pieces of metal which go from the middle to the edge are called...
Okay. I just called them pieces of metal.
Well, there we are. They did have a name, you see. All the things you get to learn. So,
why do you know that?
Because that's what it's called. Okay. So. I'm assuming people are okay for me to progress. I'm not seeing any or hearing anything from Owen to say slow down, so I'm guessing we're all good.
And I'm checking the chat as well.
I think everyone's doing okay.
Yeah, you're checking the chat as well, are you?
Yes.
Fantastic.
For owly eyes.
Okay, so as we've seen though, our cat, the sprite, is in the way.
Move out the way, cat.
We have to be able to apply this to a sprite, but we don't actually want to see the sprite. For that reason, guess what we are going to do?
We're going to hide it.
Yeah, we're going to hide the sprite. Oh, thank you. Somebody's saying it's a bit too slow. Awesome. Good feedback. So, within the looks, we should be able to find the option hide. So, I've clicked on looks on the left-hand side.
Yep. Well, that's a bit silly because in looks you can't actually see it. And you can
That still kind of looks. And I'm going to drag hide
into the top.
between when clicked and pen down. So now when I click, hopefully, our cat has disappeared.
Shoot, cat.
And I can keep clicking as I am. The cat doesn't come back. Brilliant. Whilst we're here, let's change the colour of the pen. So I quite like the blue, but it'd be nice to get used to the pen. So I'm going to click pen. We found pen. And within here, the fifth one down
is set pen colour too.
Yeah. So I'm going to drag that and I'm going to put this after hide. So when the green flag is clicked, we're going to hide the cat and we're going to change the colour. What colour are we changing it to?
Red.
Red.
Bright red.
Bright red.
Yes.
Owen, what's your favourite colour?
Orange.
Bright orange. Mixture between the two. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, so the saturation we're going to put up high. The brightness we're going to put up high. And we're going to slide this. Is that a bright orange?
Yeah, that's it. Wait, leave at the top. There we go.
Is that orange or yellow?
That's orange. Yes.
That's orange, yes? We're good with that? Fantastic. So now, because we always, small piece of work, test, small piece of code, test. Yeah? Because you don't want to do a huge amount of code, realise you've got something wrong right at the start. Because then you've got a lot of work to undo. It is. It takes hours to fix things like that. So I'm going to click the green flag again.
Yay.
And look, you can see our blue
Our orange
is becoming orange as it iterates through each step.
It's gone weird.
Yeah, it does look like a bit of a dirty colour at the moment, doesn't it? It's just kind of, yeah. I think the problem is we can still see the blue.
We need to erase it.
Yeah, so we want to clear everything. And as you just said, to clear everything, we have the option called Erase All. So I'm still within pens. I'm going to drag Erase All.
Yep.
And I'm going to put it in the, when the green flag is clicked, erase everything. In other words, clear the screen. Yeah? So now, what do you think is going to happen when I click the flag?
It's going to go and disappear.
Yep, and then, but what else is going to happen when I click the flag?
The orange is going to come back.
How many when I click once?
Just a line of orange.
Yeah, let's have a look. It's two. So, and every time I click, it's doing that. This is cool. In fact, it could almost be the start of some kind of cake.
Look, it looks like a slice of cake.
It could also be
a book.
Clock. It could be. You could make a clock like that, couldn't you? You could program it to show. Okay. So that's okay, but it's not very patterny yet. So we need to.
It's drab.
It's what?
Drab.
Drab. I don't know what that word means. We want it to spin round, but in this case, that's right. We want it to keep happening. At the moment, we're having to click every single time. So the obvious answer is likely to be some type of loop. The forever loop could possibly have been a good choice, although the fact we want it, the pattern to be a bit wonky and to be funny shapes and to grow would mean eventually the pattern could just come off our screen and it's still going on, but you wouldn't see anything. So actually, we only want to repeat whilst or until something happens. So repeat until, does that sound like an event or a control?
Control.
Yeah, it is.
Control it and make it repeat.
Absolutely right. So in here we should find something called repeat until, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th down.
Let me check because you get things wrong all the time. Wrong. It's the 7th one down.
What did I say?
Nothing.
Cool. So I'm going to drag this out, and I think this should go after our go-to. Okay.
Drop it. Good.
So what we've now got, let's have a look at the code while people...
Oh my goodness.
That's right. Oh, there's a few questions there in the chat.
My names are very short. Yes, ours are very short too.
I wouldn't worry too much about that at this point with the shorter lines. I think we're going to make so many changes. I think the important thing is every time you click the green flag that they're moving. How many steps have you got?
Oh, 50.
Look at that, Owen's already on top of it all.
Oh.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Awesome. Cool. So we are going, so the code's going to read a bit strange at the moment. So when clear of things we know, hide the sprite, our cat, set the pen colour to whatever colour, then move the pen down. So in other words, if you move it, it will leave a trace or a mark. Go to 0, 0, and then repeat until...
We move 50 steps in turn.
No, that's not actually what it says. We've actually left out until, but it doesn't matter. So until something happens, move it 50 steps and turn 15 degrees. Okay, so if we run this, there we are. It's gone.
Oh, that's weird.
This is what I mean. I've pressed the green flag, and as you can see in my window, it started to animate. Can you see anything now?
No.
But look, underneath, you can see the program's still running. There's nothing for it to draw on because it's not in view, but the computer is still working out where it should be drawing. I'm glad it's not, because this is probably going to be bigger than the building by now. It would be a very, very large swirly pattern.
We should have houses with swirly patterns.
So I'm going to stop, try it again. It's already out. Okay, cool.
Should we just yell at it for some time until it behaves?
So what we need to do is we're going to do quite a few things here. The first thing we want to do is change the order a little bit. So the first thing we see as I stop it is this line comes from somewhere to the middle.
Somewhere.
And that's because wherever it ends, the first thing we ask if we look at the code is pen down, go to the middle of the screen, which means it's drawing the line to go to the middle of the screen. That's not ideal. So it would be better to move this around. So I'm going to separate this out. I'm going to take this away. There may be an easier way to extract one of these blocks. I just don't know how to do it. And I'm going to drag this into after hide, I think. So we're going to hide the sprite. We're going to get in the right place. Then we'll set the colour and we'll put the pen down. We also probably want to start our program knowing that the pen isn't going to draw.
Oh yeah.
So instead of trying to move things whilst it's on the big one, otherwise we're going to erase all and then start the drawing. So the next thing we need to add is a pen up. Let's do the pen up.
When?
I think we need to move a couple of things around actually. So I'm going to put this repeat back in there.
Good boy.
But what I'm also going to do is I want to move this hide for the moment. And I'm going to move the erase all. So I'm completely changing the order because as we've seen, things aren't quite right. We need to refactor and relearn. We need to put the pen up. So I'm going to click on pen. I'm going to find pen up. There it is. Drag and drop. I'm then going to suggest we hide the cat if it hasn't already from the last run. Then we're going to erase all. So we're completely clear. The pen is up. Everything is clear. We go to a start position and then we actually start doing the things we want it to do. See what happens?
Yep.
We no longer have that straight line. Okay, so
I still can't see it all.
oh, totally right. But it always starts in the same place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah? You're right, we can't see it all. So we need to, and actually, after it's touched the edge, we probably don't want it to keep going.
No.
So, we need to detect when our pen touches the edge. Okay? Do you know what category that would be for touch?
Would it be on sensing?
Sensing, yeah, it's one of your senses. So I'm going to click on sensing, and somewhere in here, I think it's the first, it is the first one. It says touching mouse pointer, we'll change that. And we're going to drag this into the repeat until...
Touching edge. And when you change it to touching the edge, because we don't want it to go too far away. And when it touches the edge, it goes
yeah.
back in.
So in that drop down, we can change that to edge. Okay, so stop, run it. Okay, that doesn't go very far now.
No, it really doesn't. Oh, that's quite cool though.
And I'm still having to click this through. Okay. Let's make some more changes here. I think part of the problem is each step, what was it, what we got, 50, means each step is a big step. If you look closely, you can see this is actually made of several straight lines.
Yeah. If we were to do it on just a single step, would it look really so smooth?
Let's have a look. Shall we see what happens with one step?
Oh, it makes circles.
I think that's too small. So we're going to follow the guide, keep it as 5. There we are.
That's a nice size circle.
It is. The problem is we've got our circle, and as you can see, the code is still executing.
Where is it going? Mars?
No, it's just going round and round. So this is not supposed to be this is not the goal we're trying to achieve. We are not writing a circle drawing program. We are trying to make a pattern. Okay, give people just a second to possibly catch up or not. Still not sure. I've had some feedback. It's a bit too slow.
Dad?
Yes.
Can I go wash my face? I've got hay fever.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we will, the problem we have is we're moving it by 15 degrees each time, and 15 goes into 360, which is why it's a complete circle. Oops. what we want to do now is we are going to create a variable and we're going to set the number of steps. As such, click on variables, and as we want to work with something called steps, we're going to call it steps. So I clicked on new variable. My name is steps for this sprite only. Okay. And we want to set the variables. So there we are, set my variable to 0. I'm going to drag this right at the top, near the top, I guess. So when the green flag is clicked, set, I don't want my variable, in the drop down steps. There we go, we will set steps to 0. Oh, my phone is beeping, sorry. Set steps to 0. Then we can, sorry, I've got myself lost now. There we go. We want to use the value of steps instead of this number 5 down here, which is hard coded. So the way we do that is we should be able to go to our variables, find the steps variable, it's here. I'm just going to drag that and replace the 5. What we can do within the loop each time it iterates through is we can change the steps by a certain amount. So I'm going to change, so there as the very last thing within the loop, I'm going to change my steps by 1. See what happens now. Ooh. We're starting to get something which looks a little bit more interesting, a bit more spirally. I mean, something we could try is at the moment, we're still changing this by 15 degrees. Do you want to have a go changing it to 76 and seeing what that looks like, and then changing it to 120? So let's do that at the same time. So turn by 76 degrees. We should get, it's like a hexagon. Look at that. That's quite a cool shape. There we are. It's touched the edge. It's disappeared. Ooh. Looks good.
Yes.
And then if we change it to 120, I think it's going to end up, sorry, I shouldn't say think, I remember it looked like a growing triangle. Hey, look at that. It's like a zoom-in triangle, and all it's doing is just drawing around the edge.
That's cool.
That should stop in a second. There we go. I'm also going to stop showing that. Excellent. It would be nice if the user could give us some inputs. But at the moment, we are hard coding everything. It would be nice if they could say, oh, type this in. So what can they change? They can change the degrees. They could also change...
Mine is not working.
Oh, mine is not working.
So what's their name? I can't see it. Fiona Thomas. Have you got everything on here that looks? Does it look like very exactly the same?
Yeah, that would be the first question.
Yeah.
Also, when you say it's not working, does that mean when you press the green flag, nothing happens? Or do you get anything on the screen? I mean, I guess technically, and you know, what did you use a nice bright colour?
Oh yeah, you might have used white. And then
I wonder if it let you do white, because white on a white background should show nothing. Run.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that shows absolutely nothing. Oh, we've lost that nice orange colour now.
Have it red, have it red. I like it red.
You want the red still, do you? Aaron's
Yeah.
lost, has he?
Yes.
Poor Aaron. Ah, that looks like... Fiona, does that mean you're all good?
Yes,
I think we're in a good place. Okay. So we need to set a couple more variables. So at the moment, the number of steps, as you can see, I was about to point, you can't see what I'm pointing, use the mouse. I've tried this purple mouse to see if it's easier for people to see. Hopefully it's big enough. If the mouse isn't big enough, I can make it bigger so somebody can shout if needed. This bottom one, change steps by 1. So the next time, yeah, guess what the answer will be?
1.
And the time after?
1.
And the next time?
1, no.
Absolutely. So not very interesting. I mean, I could change it now to 5, but it means every time I run it. What happens now with that? Ooh.
Wow.
Okay. But it's really hard coded, which isn't always that fun because every time we want to rerun it, as you see, we have to go and edit the code, which is not what we really want to do. So the steps can be increased. Yeah. So by what number shall we increase the drawing, the line as it goes round? And the other thing is, what else could we increase? It's the
degrees.
Yeah. At the moment, we've tried 76. We've tried 120. I don't know what that symbol looks like.
Whoa,
It's kind of a bit square-like.
What does 80 look like?
Last one, because people are waiting.
Oh, that's nice, that is.
Do you like that one?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like some hypnotic thing, doesn't it, you would get in cartoons.
Huh, that just went on your mouse, which is also what you said. This gets wet, I'll be really annoyed.
Well, I would be annoyed. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get the user's input to tell us how much we increase the step by and what degrees. Because we're after user input,
yeah,
we should really be storing these as a variable.
Ooh.
Okay, so we've already created one. Oh, I've already got variables open. So within variables, make a variable. I click the button at the top. And I'm going to call the first one...
Degreesy.
Not degreesy, just degrees.
Okay.
For the sprite only.
Only.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to uncheck it because I don't think we need to see it on the screen at the moment.
You don't like it when these are shown. You always grumble and moan about it.
I think the idea of that window is we see the pattern, not having this debug info. We'll make another variable, and this one we will call increase.
Make a space bar to make sure it's space. Okay.
No, you don't want the space bar at the end.
I know, but I was saying to check it's spelled right, because then the red squiggly line would show up.
I don't think it would show on this.
I didn't know.
That's all right. Okay, so I've got increase for the sprite only.
Okay.
So we've now got in our variables 4 variables because we had the original my variable. You may have deleted it. You know what? I'm going to right click on my variable and delete the my variable because we don't need it. So we've got the 3 we need.
Someone still bring me for the chair. So someone said that 0.5 looks really pretty. Daddy.
We'll do it in a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So we now need to add these variables to the code in the right place. That means at the moment we move, sorry, there's the mouse here. In the repeat, we are moving steps, number, because steps is representing the number, currently set at 0, steps. We are then turning 80 degrees. Well, we don't want that to be a hard-coded number. So we want to replace that with the variable. Oh, where's my helper gone? Which variable do we want to replace it with?
Yes.
Which variable do we want to replace?
Degrees.
Yes. So I will drag degrees and replace the 80. And then last one.
Yep.
Well, we're going to change steps by the amount we increase it. So guess what the variable was?
Oh, was an increase.
Yeah. Okay, so right now, other than at the very top and the go-to, nothing is hard-coded, which is cool. That's a bit of a lie. We have a red colour pen and the fact it touches the edge, but it's better than what it was. There's a bit of a problem though. Do you know, what do you think it's going to do? And I know you've got no idea with this, so it's a really mean question.
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Will it make a nice pattern?
Well, what haven't we... Let's have a look first of all. So why do you think that's happening? Why do you think nothing's happening at all?
Because we said nothing is going to happen. No. The degrees are not set.
Yeah, absolutely. Nor is increase.
No.
So what does that mean? We term by this number of degrees.
But we don't have that.
But we haven't set the number of degrees. So the whole computer goes, I don't know what to do.
And then it explodes and starts saying 9 cat.
It could start singing the 9 cat again. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the user for some input. Now, an asking thing. Yeah, we're going to ask the user, which is talking. So what kind of category do you think that one was?
I think it would be sensing.
Yeah.
Because you can sense someone's talking to you.
Well, it's one of here, right?
Yes.
So we need to ask and wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, the 5th one down. Ask and wait. So we're going to put the first one quite near the top. So when the green flag is clicked, we'll set the steps to 0, and then we're going to ask, what's your name?
And you say...
Do we really want to ask what's your name?
No. Let's ask how many steps should I grow by?
Yeah, absolutely. How many steps?
Daddy?
Cool. So we will ask the question, how many steps should I grow by? Yep. And then we'll wait. We're waiting for the response.
Yeah, well, we're not going to get a response until we press the green button.
Well, at the moment, even if you got a response,
yeah.
we haven't told it how to save the response. So we've asked the question, they'll reply, but do we save the answer?
No.
No.
We need to say what the increase is
Yeah,
to the answer, because there's no point in this.
Yeah, and it is exactly that.
0.3.
So what we'll do is we are going to, what do you think we can do?
Oh, we should set it.
Yes.
So
So I'm already in variables. The top block says set degrees to 0. And I'm going to drag that underneath the question.
we don't need to set it to 0. We need to set it to answer.
Well, not only that, we need to change it from degrees
So
to increase, because we're talking about how much should I grow by. So at the moment we've said, how many steps should I grow by? You'll respond with
0.3.
0.3.
0.5. It's 0.3.
Okay, 0.3. We then set increase to what?
Oh, the answer.
Well, we haven't, have we? That's the problem. We've set it to 0, but you're right. We need to put it into the answer. So I'm going to go back to sensing. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 6th one down says answer. And I'm going to replace that.
There we go.
So what's happening now? When the green flag is clicked, we will set the steps to 0. We ask a question, hey, how many steps should we grow by? And then we set this variable increase, we set the value to whatever the answer that is given.
Yeah.
There's some risk here, because if I said how many steps should I grow by and I typed in 3, as in THREE,
It would go.
it should be confused. Let's see what happens. Oh, I pressed go. How many steps? Well, first of all, let's see if it works if I click 5. It may not.
No, 0.3, 0.3.
Will you wait? Okay, it's not perfect because we haven't done anything with the degrees yet, but that's working. So if I now do 0.3, much slower.
Okay.
But if I now do 3 as a word, nothing happens.
No, there still is a dot in the middle of it.
Is that a dot or is it fluff on the screen? Oh, it is it? It's fine. Your eyes are better than mine. I could hardly see that.
Because you're old.
So, let's do pretty much the same thing we just did for asking the question to change increase. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to ask a question like, how many degrees should I change by? And we're going to capture the answer and set the degrees variable to whatever the answer is. So I'm going to give people just a second.
Nothing.
You've got a guitar pick under your chair.
Oh, Joyce. Now I have to move.
So I've got guitar picks that have fallen on the floor. Thank you
I think we've made a loop, Dave, because it's still running, isn't it? Someone in the chat says nothing's happened.
At the moment, there's quite likely nothing will happen because we have to do the same with the degrees as well.
Oh, okay. So it's not supposed to do anything at the moment then?
Let me just double check. I think the straight line should appear if I put a 5 in there. Yeah, I would expect to see something. So the first thing would be, after you ask how many steps to grow by, are you setting the increase variable to the answer? Because if you were to set something else, that may not work.
If you were to set the elephant to...
We don't have an elephant variable at the moment.
No elephant.
Daniel, I'd also double check that you are within your loop at the bottom, your repeat until it is change steps by increase as well. Cool, awesome. So we'll give Daniel just taking a catch up. So we've done this with increase. Next thing we want to do is do it with degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, most people have had enough time, so I'm going to just give it a go. So what do we need to do?
Variable.
Well, the first thing we actually have to do before we set, yeah, we have to ask the question. So under sensing, I'm going to ask, what's your name and weight again?
Which is the 5th one down.
And I'm going to put it in here. So at the moment we've got ask a question, set the answer to the variable. Ask another question. Yeah, by how many degrees? Yeah.
No, how many degrees should I turn?
Is that not the same question?
Well, it is, but that's just a bit more computed.
More computed. Awesome.
There we go.
Right.
That's more.
So now we can go back to variables.
Dave, we seem to have lost your camera.
Right, we'll give this a second. Am I back?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hurrah! Sorry, everybody. Our computer's in a bit of a funny place. It's easy for me to kick it. I didn't say.
Yeah, he did. He did.
One of us. Anyway, one of us. So we are now going to set. So how many degrees should I turn? We will set degrees to 0. Is that right?
No.
Why?
It needs to be the answer.
Correct. So I'm going to go back to sensing because that's where we got the question.
6th one down.
Yep. And I'm going to replace that there. So now, because we test straight away, how many steps should I grow by?
3.
1 at the moment. How many degrees should I turn? You know what? Let's do 15 again, just to make sure the circle's working. Oh, of course, not a circle because of the steps. Paper. That's perfect.
Spiral.
Yep. What number did you want? 0.3?
Yes.
And the increase?
I don't know.
The degrees?
I don't know. It doesn't say on that. Someone said that it looked really nice.
Let's do 76 again.
Okay. Oh, that is nice. Whoa, that's pretty.
Cool, it's quite mesmerising. It's almost headache-inducing as well, isn't it?
If you've got really bad migraines,
Migraines.
do not look at that.
Oh, if you don't have a bad migraine, look at it because you could get one.
Yes. Free migraines today.
Okay, so what we need to do now is give everybody just a few seconds to have a play with it. Try different numbers. If anybody finds...
Yes, let's try different numbers.
You're doing that now, are you? If anybody finds a couple of numbers for the steps it should increase by or grow by,
I'm happy to see them.
let's share that. Okay, you're obsessed with 0.3.
Yes, because I want to... Oh. I don't know. That's not as good. Oh, that's pretty nice, though.
Okay, last one.
Yeah. What was that? 48. Oh, that's cool.
So what we can do now, I'm
Look.
hoping people are
Look at
okay
the
to stop
middle.
playing. You can play with this afterwards, obviously. It's still just that one colour. Remember I said earlier it'd be nice if things weren't hard-coded. We've made some progress, but it's always going to be the colour we chose. We went from that lovely orange to this dreadful red, and we've forgotten blue, purple, green, and those lovely colours. So what we're going to do is we are going to change the colour each time, okay? And as I think we discussed it earlier actually,
Did we?
the number will make it realise use a different colour.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So within the repeat until, the first thing we now want to do is change the colour,
Yeah.
change the pen colour by an amount. So we're going to keep our starting colour as the red, at least for now. And then within our pen, so I've clicked on pen, there should be the option to change pen colour by. There it is.
Can I open the windows for you?
Yeah, sure.
Gosh, you've got so much wires on the floor. Why?
So, there's lots of options there, but colour is going to work. You could change the saturation, brightness, or even the transparency. And we're going to do it by 10. At the moment, let's just see what that does. As always, bit of code. Don't worry if your picture doesn't look like a flower or anything like that. I can't even remember which number. I think it was 0.3 and 55. Did you
No,
just do?
I did 48. 0.3
Oh.
48.
0.3
And
for the step
yeah,
and
and
48 for the
degrees.
degrees.
Stare into the middle of it, and then it moves.
Okay, so we are changing the pen colour by 10. We're going to change it. Sorry, we're going to test it. Good or not?
Yeah.
You like that, didn't you? So 0.75, 276 again, because that was quite fun earlier. That really is a lot of colour.
Wow. It's like my personality.
But again, the only slight problem with this is there is a kind of predictability with it.
It's always going to sort of have that
You know, it's, if I do that
line pattern.
and then restart, I can't remember what numbers I did. Was it 5 and 50? So it starts off with a light greeny colour, blue, purple, 5, 50, light greeny colour to the blue and the purple. And guess what happens if I do it again? It's going to be the same.
Yes.
So we have this predictability. It would be lovely to change that and to randomise it a little bit. So we have an option to change the pen color by 10. We're not going to actually ask the user. We are going to choose, we're going to get the computer to help us and pick. Do you know what it's going to pick?
Pick a random from 1 to 100.
Yeah, a random number. So I think that's an operation. So I've gone to my operators.
Yeah.
And I've found the fifth one down. Pick random, 1 to 10. And I'm going to drag that and replace the existing 10.
I want it 1 to 100, please.
1 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? There'd be nothing to stop you saying 1 to 50. I assume that the maximum...
Dave, can we just go over the multicolour bit again?
Totally. So, let me take this out. I wish there was an easier way to have done that. So, this is what you would have already had. So, if you see your repeat until loop, the very first thing we want to include in this is the instruction to change the pen colour. So, within pens, there is a block which is called change pen colour by, and then there's a number. So if you drag that into the into the top of that loop, so it says repeat until touching edge, and then the next instruction is change pen color by 10. That's all you should need to do. So then I'm going to put in some numbers.
It's still sort of 9, 9, 9, 9.
Oh, it's just the numbers I'm choosing.
Oh.
So if I made the step smaller, it should be a bit smoother. Not really, actually. Just...
Oh, that is quite pretty, though.
Okay, hopefully that's answered the question. Then after we've done that, we don't want it to be 10 because of the predictability. Instead, we're going to go to operators, and we are going to, yay, fantastic, drag from operators, pick random 1 to 10, and replace the existing hard-coded number 10. And then we're going to change that from 1 to 10 to 1 to 100.
But then we don't need to because we're cruel.
So if I now press play, what do you think is going to happen?
It's going to randomise everything.
It's not going to randomise everything because it's still based upon what we type in, absolutely. But at least
The colour's random.
now it started off with went from pink to turquoise, is that right?
I can't see it.
525. Pink to blue, 525. Green to blue. I would say that's definitely changing colour
And
each
then-
time.
Blue to pink to yellow to something to something to something, and I can't be bothered to say anything else.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, give people just a second to catch up and to play with it. So what we could also do with this, as you just pointed out, we still have to answer the question, how many steps? Yes?
I just saw a hair running through there. I saw it shoot across.
We have, yeah, we've asked the user, tell us how much it's going to grow by and everything else, which is, again, means the pattern starts and it's predictable, which is why we've had some nice patterns so far. Let's make it even more random. So we're now going to undo some of the work we've done, which is a very typical thing you do in programming. Is you take something, you change your mind, you realise the requirements have changed, the need has changed, you say, oh, we don't need to do it this way anymore. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take out this ask and rejoin it, and I'm going to move this and take out the second ask. So our two asks, I'm going to delete. So the two asks have gone. So we now set our increase to an answer. What's that going to do? Yeah, what answer? We didn't ask a question to get an answer.
Yeah.
So we're going to replace the answers with the pick random in exactly the same way we did with the change pen color. So pick random, that comes into there. Oh, and it's knocked our answer out. There we are. I can just delete the answer first. And again. So, increase from 1 to 10. What would happen if you made it 1 to 12? What would happen if you made it 5 to 30? Choose a number, a lowish number.
1, 3.
3, and still fairly lowish. Say 10 to 20 or 10 to 30.
Just keep it 10.
10. Okay, changing the number of degrees. Let's change it from, give us, do you want us, you can have one or a low number.
4.
4, okay.
So 11.
11, I think what would be even better is a bit of, we could do 11. Let's do 11. Let's see what happens first of all. Okay, so let's stop that, run it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a bit
Rubbish.
So let's give ourselves a bigger number of degrees.
180.
Just do some, 180 is
132.
132. Love the randomness. Go. Ooh. And then play it again.
Ooh.
Different pattern. And again.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Again. So every single time now, because we've added this random element, we can do it. What we could even do,
Yeah.
we could actually surround everything in a forever loop. And this is the last thing I'm going to do because I realise it's 3 o'clock. So I'm going to go back to control and I've found a forever loop and I'm going to stick this as the first thing it does. So when the green flag is clicked forever,
That will
do this. So as soon as it touches the edge, it restarts. Now, I assume most of you don't remember the horrible old screensavers in Windows. If you ask your parents and or guardians, etc., I'm sure they will probably be giggling as they remember Windows 95.
What does it look like?
Well, pretty much that.
Really?
I'll show you some things it used to do for screensavers, which were a thing at one point. Right, okay, I don't remember, quick look, did we actually help in the computer? Okay, there was a small amount left, so we haven't finished everything. We're not going to get this finished, and for one page, it's unlikely we will continue this next week. Owen, are you able? Oh, it's already there at the top of the chat window. So if you scroll up, you can see the project we followed, which means you should be able to have a go with the helping the computer section, which is the last section. I hope you've enjoyed this. You should get a survey. Please fill it in. Let us know how we're doing. Other than that, I think we're good.
I'm mesmerised.
You're mesmerised. Huge thank you, Owen, for your help. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming.
Excellent. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to leave the final PowerPoint as we always do. And we are back on next week, as always. So I hope to see everybody then.
But someone else is going to be here and not you.
I don't know if it's going to be me or not, to be honest. What's that? That's screen 3.
Yes, it is. 3.